Greetings and welcome to the Barbra Gentry-Pugh Show. I'm excited that you could join us today. And I have again as my special guest, Shirley A. Williams. Welcome back, Shirley.
Thank you for having me back.
It's just good to have you back on the show. We had so much to talk about last time, and we didn't get finished, so we want to continue today.
Excellent.
We talked about Shirley as being CEO, Leadership in Action, and she talked a lot last time about leadership. And she may share a little bit more about leadership, but what we really want to do is talk about her as an author today. Shirley has co-authored 15 books, and we're going to talk about those books today. And I had the privilege of being a recipient of one of the books that Shirley co-authored. I think it's your
Which
first
was my
book.
first, right.
And it's the Baby Boomers Handbook for Women. And Shirley did the first chapter. And that's complimentary within itself.
Thank you.
And so we're going to start with this book. And it's, I wanted to show it to our audience, it's the Baby Boomer
Handbook
for Women. And Shirley, I want you to tell our audience what it's all about. And I have some key things that I was very, very motivated by your chapter.
Thank you. Thank you.
All about reinventing yourself. And because that's so important these days. Because of career changes, and you used to could be in a career for 30 years.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. And it's interesting that you would say that because when I was working, my daughters and their different friends used to always call me the progressive mom.
Okay.
Because most of their parents had jobs like in academia, or they had jobs in plants, or even a postal service carrier. Those were jobs that people went to work there. Phone company. I remember a lot of women, we were taught you want to work at the phone company. And what wound up happening is that they went there, and the reason that they pursued those jobs is because there was the opportunity for 25, 30 years in a position and get that gold watch at the end. So the reason they coined me the progressive mother was because I was sort of against the norm, and I never really looked at a job aspiring for the gold watch or anything. I was always looking for the job that gave me an opportunity to grow, and I used to always say, if they give me $1 more. And so what I did is I have a very diverse background. I mean, I've been in HR, I've been in sales, and I've been recruiter, I've been administrative assistant, I've been associate director at a university, and regional director for phone companies. So it was like I went against the grain, and I never anticipated the gold watch. So I was sort of ahead of my time. Back then, people used to say, ooh, you're a job hopper. And today, more and more companies view that as being flexible or resilient.
Or an asset, because you have more than one skill.
And not only that, but a person who can move from one job or transition from one job to the other, what happens is that that's an indicator that they are flexible. And today we need a flexible mindset, and if you want to join today's workforce.
Well, I thought you did an excellent job in writing the chapter, because there are a lot of women today that had to go back to work.
Right.
Or they had to change careers. And sometimes it can be very frightening. How am I going to make it? And I think we kind of fall in that sort of in that category, because we had a husband.
Right.
And we really didn't have a lot to worry about financially, so to speak.
Right.
Even though we were working, but once that's gone, when you think about living
exactly
70, 80, 90 years.
Yes, and you are exactly right. It's so funny because I think that what gave me the, I guess you'd say, the gumption or the tenacity to move on is that my husband always supported whatever I wanted to do. If I would come home from work and say I had a bad day, he'd say, well, just go back tomorrow and tell him you quit, And that was not my goal, but there was, and I use this word and I use parentheses as I say it, but there was a cockiness about knowing that he had my back, and that I did not have to just sit here and take any physical, emotional, or verbal abuse from people, just for a paycheck. So that really was what fueled the desire to move around, and my confidence to do it.
You know, it's just interesting what you just said about your husband. We hadn't even talked about that. We have so much in common. And my husband supported any and everything
Yes.
that I wanted to do.
Yes.
And that's such a reassuring.
Yes, and I don't know about your husband, but my husband was very soft-spoken and kind of like a little quiet storm. Everybody thought I ran the household, but I always told people, I said, oh no, and Dan says that's enough, Shirley. Shirley knows that that's enough.
That's enough. But it's just good to know that you had that support.
Yes.
Because a lot of women don't have that
Yes.
support. And I was always appreciative of that.
Yes.
You know, he was behind, had my back. So to
Exactly,
speak,
and that is a comforting, that is a comforting feeling to know that somebody has your back. And then I had 2 daughters, and they were cheerleaders, and you know, thankfully today they're doing their own thing, their own way, and that's really what it's about. It's about doing what makes you feel comfortable. But getting back to the reinventing yourself piece of it, that was a natural chapter for me to write, even though I fought tooth and nail and did not want to write because I didn't think I was an author. I had not had the qualifications that some of the women in that book have. I mean, we have psychologists, psychotherapists, we have, you know, people with PhDs, and it was like, and you want me in the book? So anyway, I fought. And so being Flip, when they asked me, what would you write about? And I said, reinventing yourself. It was natural because for each career change, that's a form of reinvention. And then when I lost my husband and my daughters, moved out of state, I had to now tap into that ability to reinvent myself and figure out what's next for Shirley.
For Shirley. Well, I was impressed, and as I read through the chapters, I made some notes and some key points, some things that just really caught my eye. You said in reinventing yourself, you have to have a heart for change.
You do.
And tell us a little bit more about that.
What that means is most of us, we fear change because change takes us out of our comfort zone. And so, as I said earlier, change also requires a spirit of resilience. I used to work for people, and that would always be one of the words that would crop up on a performance review when they would do performance reviews. They would always say resilient. Back then, I didn't appreciate it because it really did not mean that much back then. But today, what I understand is that, hey, I may fall down, but I'm quick to jump back up and jump back in the game.
In the game, okay. That was just so really good. There's so many points, and we don't want to spend a lot of time because I want you to share about a little bit about each of the other books that you have co-authored. But one of the other things that you said in the book, that dreams don't have an expiration date. Some people go to their graves and never experience their dreams.
Right, right. And the sad part is let's just say I've co-authored 15 books, and my dream is that my own book will be published. The bottom line is that sometimes we block our own dreams because once again it goes back to the fear of change. My book that I am working on, I've been holding it for 2 years. It's finished, but for whatever reason, because I can't hide between the covers and the chapters that other women have written. Now I'm a little hesitant because it's the raw Shirley coming out there. It's my true emotions, my true experiences. And so, you know, now it means that I'm pulling the cover off of me. And so what happens a lot of times is that fear causes us to procrastinate. And procrastination puts your dreams on hold.
And there's a chapter in here on procrastination
Exactly,
as well.
exactly.
And I encourage you to publish that book because in the book that I'm writing, there's some chapters that I just believe God just kind of purged me to say what I needed to say because I'm hopeful it'll help someone else.
Yes,
And
yes.
it was not comfortable writing it. I thought,
Yes.
am I writing this? Do I really
Right,
want to share
right,
this?
exactly.
And the Lord said, share it.
Yes,
So,
and interestingly enough, everything that I've written, there is a personal, you can feel the personal me from the words, because when I go back and read it, I can see that I shared a lot of personal information. But again, I am protected by the author in front of me and the author that's behind me when we do it on a collaborative basis.
okay, so you feel like you got company.
Exactly.
I think one of the other points that you made in your chapter is embracing your self-worth. And I think sometimes we don't value
Exactly.
who we are, the
Exactly.
contributions you made. And I thought it was really kind of neat. If I could just, you wrote it, but I want to read it. It talks about I think being a housewife, you said leadership, accountability, big sister, managing others. That's being
All
a
of
wife.
that's leadership.
Yes,
Yeah.
all of it's leadership. Operational manager and decision maker is a mother. A mother is a very important role.
Right.
And it goes on and on and on. So we have to look at ourselves as valuable.
That's it.
And have something to offer.
You have to recognize your own value, and to recognize your own value, there's this acronym that says that you first have to fly, which means first love yourself. And so therefore, once you love yourself, flaws and all, and you accept those, then you are able to lead in the family, you're able to lead in the work environment, knowing that someone may come to you and tell you, this batch of cookies was lousy, or this project you worked on, it didn't really, meet the target. So again, but it's leadership no matter what. When I was working in staffing, we would have women who had not worked in many years. They had chosen to be housewives, and they wanted to re-enter the workforce. And we used to tweak their resume, and instead of saying that they had been a housewife that was absent from the workforce, we used to say they were domestic engineers. Okay, so that would give them a chance. And we had to educate our clients that skills are the same skills that are used in business are used to run a household.
Run a household. And a good mother and a good wife
That's right.
can run a good household.
That's right. That's right.
And
So again, it's the value
It's
piece.
the value piece. Well, there's so many wonderful things in the chapter, but we want to go to some of the books that you've co-authored.
Okay.
And again, I want to show the audience the Baby Boomer Handbook for Women. And you have to have this book and read this chapter
Thank you.
and all the other chapters, but
Thank
the
you.
chapter that Linda wrote.
Yes.
And it's an excellent, excellent piece of work.
You have
So-
50 perspectives from 50 different women in this particular book. The other books typically carry 25 authors.
Okay.
But because this was a special edition, the Baby Boomers Handbook, what we did was we wanted to show perspectives from anything that might be, say, a challenge or something that a baby boomer may be going through, such as the loss of a spouse.
Absolutely.
Such
You
as
mentioned that.
such as moving forward now that you're retired. What's the next plan? So the Baby Boomers Handbook to me really has a lot of good information about anything, any challenges, any opportunities that we as baby boomers may encounter today.
It's awesome.
Yeah,
Awesome.
and let me just say that if anybody is interested in any of
Yes,
these books,
yes, yes.
I'm going to do a shameless plug here, and I'm going to say you can contact me at Leadership in Action. That's www.leadershipinaction.info, or you can contact me at 888-926-9911.
Very good. I'm glad you did that. So we get to talking and I get it in. So that's really great. So let's talk about some of the other books
Okay.
that you've co-authored.
Well, I brought a few here today. One of the books that I brought today, I only brought 6. Yours would make 7.
Okay.
But the first book is A View from the Top. And what I talk about is, in that particular book, it's about exceptional leadership strategies. One of the things that I wrote about in that is the transformational leader. Are you a transformational leader? Are you a person, we kind of touched on it last time that I was here, who empowers people, who trusts people to make decisions and do their job? Or are you a transactional leader, the person that's only concerned about let's move to the next task, let's move to the
Let's get
next
it done.
task? Exactly. And so in that chapter, I share some tips on how to transform a team and make a team get excited about working with you.
And growing people in the process.
Exactly, exactly. And that's the key factor is that those people become more valuable because of what you poured into them.
Okay. All right.
The next book I think that I brought is the Power of, oh my God, there's so many. Wait a minute.
Diversity, the one on diversity?
No, it's,
Okay.
oh well, anyway, let me just say it's about the power of God.
Okay,
And the
yes,
power of
yes.
God is a devotional.
Yes.
And in that devotional, there's, like any other devotional, there's 365 days. Each one of the authors in there had about 7 days that they wrote a devotional message. And my particular days happened to be days that I picked that were special to me, like my anniversary, my husband's birthday, my daughter's birthdays. And we just put a little inspirational message in it. One of the one that I wrote specifically that was dedicated to my husband is that no matter what it looks like, because we were going through his health challenges and whatnot, but no matter what it looks like, I thought that I was going to be all alone and couldn't go on because all I knew was being married and being Trelena and Danielle's mom. However, what I came to realize is that no matter what it looks like, God still has another plan for us. God is saying next level.
And he doesn't make
Yes.
mistakes. I mean,
Yes.
if we could just embrace that,
Yes.
knowing that
Yes.
he's a God that not only sees the now, but
Right.
he sees the future.
Right.
And he knows exactly what he has to do to get us to that next
Exactly.
level. Amen.
And then the next book is What's the Difference? And we're addressing diversity, which is really critical and even more interesting now that we have a African American president, and we see, even though there's a lot of talk about race relations and things like that, nobody really has come out and just really said that we have treated this president differently than any other president. And I say we because collectively we all have. And, it's like he's not received the same props. It's like he's being scrutinized, criticized, and judged on every front, and no matter what it is, he never gets a good grade.
Never.
And so in my particular chapter, I do talk about, what is diversity? We need to stop fooling people and scratching around the surface and talking about diversity is that I had black-eyed peas and collard greens last night and that you had shrimp fried rice. That's not diversity.
It's not.
Diversity to me is simple. It's just one word, coexistence. That's
Can
what
we
diversity
get along?
is.
Can-
Exactly.
can we work
Coexistence.
together?
I really need you and you need me, okay?
And we all have something unique
Exactly.
to offer,
To bring to the
to
table.
bring to the table.
Yes.
And
yes.
we need to learn to accept each other.
Exactly. But
Period.
once we realize, when you look at animals running around, you see squirrels and you see rabbits hanging out together, and they're not all fighting over the same nuts, and so it's kind of like, why, if God's other creatures can coexist out there in the wilderness, it's very interesting that we don't.
We're supposed to be the intelligent creation.
Exactly. And so I kind of talk about stuff like that. It's like, really, what is the core? And the core is that for some people, it's easier to hate than love. Even though they're both powerful emotions.
It's easier to hate
Right.
than love.
Because if I hate you, I don't have to be bothered. But if I love you, I have to put some work forth.
And I have to accept you
Yes.
and love you.
Yes. Yes.
you are.
Yes.
And then accept what you have to offer
Exactly.
and bring to the table
Exactly.
as well.
And appreciate that
And
we
appreciate
all
that. Yeah.
have my favorite word, value.
And we all are different
Yes. Yes.
and unique.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
And the next book is The Power of Change. That's why I was kind of groping with that first title, because it was two power books in there. But The Power of Change just talks, that particular chapter, I talk about no more drama, no more chaos. Because we invite drama and chaos into our lives, okay? It's not something that is something that we run from.
We invite it.
Many of us invite it into our lives.
And sometimes I know people that can't function well unless
There you
there's
go.
drama.
There you go. The drama kings, the drama queens. I talk about them in that particular chapter. The ones who walk into a room and everybody holds their breath when they show up, okay? Those are the people that we allow, because what we start doing, and I have some in my family, you probably got some in your family, where when they come, they say, well, that's how they are. So what we do is we give them a pass. Instead of just saying, now my sister, I love her dearly, okay? But if you were to talk to my sister, and I only have one sister, she will tell you, one thing about Shirley is that Shirley has always operated on a drama-free diet, okay? When she goes into her routine, then I'll say, okay, it's time for me to go because you're getting ready to throw that party.
And you don't deal with
No,
drama.
no, I don't. I have a very low threshold for drama.
And I really think it's a cover-up
Exactly.
for maybe insecurity.
It is. And drama brings
Right.
about chaos too. See, so once you invite the drama in, then the chaos is the baggage that comes with the drama. And before you know it, you're all in a frenzy and they're gone over to somebody else's house wreaking havoc.
They worked you up, now they go work somebody else up.
Exactly.
Well, that's good. And yet, why are we so, when you say the power of change, why are we so reluctant to embrace change?
Well, once again, because it's something new
Something new.
and different. And, you know,
Out of
like,
our comfort zone.
like some people, like I got 10 pairs of slippers at home, okay? Some are really cute, but there's that one pair
That you just
that I
really-
throw in the machine all the time because they are comfortable, okay? And so that's the same thing with change. Change means that we have to stretch ourselves a little bit, okay?
Move out of that comfort
Move
area.
out of that comfort zone. And so what happens, but the funny thing is we change every day.
Every day.
People don't even realize you didn't eat the same thing for breakfast possibly today that you had yesterday. You're not wearing the same clothes. So change is really as simple as that.
And life situations bring about change.
Exactly,
So-
exactly. And so if we are incapable, then those are the people that have the nervous breakdowns when a major change
Change
occurs
comes.
in their life.
And they're
Yeah.
not good people to be around.
No, no, because then it goes back to the
The
drama
drama.
queen. Then the next book that I brought is Becoming Your Own Best Friend. And that book talks about loving yourself and whatnot. However, I added a twist to that particular book because even though we talk about becoming our own best friend, once we become our own best friend and we're comfortable with ourselves, I believe that we need a powerful sisterhood
Absolutely.
that strengthens
Absolutely.
us and makes us even a better person. And in Becoming Your Own Best Friend, I talk about all the people in my sisterhood who have made an impact on my life, from my sister-in-laws to my sister, my childhood friends, and I talk about the value that they added. And I know that I am who I am because all of them, Linda Eastman, the person who's the publisher of these books, she has been a powerful impact on me because she pulled something out of me that I never even know was hidden.
I can't wait to meet her. I signed up for the conference in January.
Very good, very
so I
good.
plan on going and
Very
meeting
good.
her.
She
'cause-
is
'cause
a
that's
very
all the books
inspirational
yes,
person.
that she's published.
And she is genuine. I tell people all the time that she makes you feel like a part of the sisterhood.
That's so wonderful.
And so that's what I wrote about in that particular book. And then the other book, I think the last book that I brought was Coaching Gurus. And so in that particular book, what she did was, once again, she blessed me with being named what they call the guest author in that book. So I don't have, it's a chapter, but it's not numbered. It just says guest author.
Okay. Now, how is that different from the other?
Well, the guest author means that she had maybe designated 25 authors for that book, but she had a story that she wanted me to tell. And that story was about my relationship with my mom, who's currently going through Alzheimer's. And I shared with you earlier that even with Alzheimer's, when I go back, it takes me back to the power of change. I've had to change how I interact with my mother. That was not an easy change, okay?
It's a different role.
Exactly, because I am her mother now. And I shared with you earlier this morning, she was just in one of those moods because Alzheimer's patients can become very difficult. And she was like, I'm not going to take my medicine. So we went for about 30 minutes with her singing that she wasn't going to take her medicine.
The medication that she really needed.
Exactly.
That she needed. couldn't skip.
Exactly. And the thing is that I then start to get emotional because I am fearful that if you don't take this, then this is going to be harmful to both our qualities of life, okay? And so, you know, I wrote about how now I am what I call the memory keeper. And there's a poem in that book that I ran across in the on the internet that made me look at it, the whole situation in a different light, where it was a mother with Alzheimer's writing a letter to her daughter, and she said, don't get impatient with me, when I don't want to eat my food. Remember how many times I had to chase you around the table. So it put a whole new perspective on it. So now I just look at it as a blessing that I am the keeper of her last memories.
Wow. I remember my girlfriend that her mother had Alzheimer's, and she said how difficult it was.
Yes.
When your mother doesn't even know you
Exactly,
anymore.
exactly.
And you just have to change this whole perspective.
My mother does not know she has children. However, she knows she has children, and that sounds like a contradiction because she's at a phase where now I had to go out and buy her some babies. So she has 3 dolls.
Wow.
And it's a heartbreaking disease, but it's comical to see certain things. Like I'll come in there, and if she's got pudding is all over the baby's mouths where she's trying to feed these children. So she still has that maternal instinct. And if you get in the car and those babies aren't there, she will tell you, hold it, where are my children? So she still has the maternal instinct, but she doesn't know she has any children.
That she actually birthed.
Right, right. And so that's why I said she had children, but she doesn't have children because it's just that these dolls have replaced her children.
What an important role that you're playing at this time in your life. And it changes.
Oh, yes,
The role
every day.
changes, the perspective changes.
Every day,
Every
every day, every day I learn something new. And patience has been my most valuable lesson that I've learned. I've learned that my emotions, because this is such a emotional ride, that our emotions can get the best of us if we are not careful. And so that's the part. And then they do every now and then, it gets the best of me, and then I run into the bathroom and I say, oh Lord, forgive me. You know that was just me acting on raw emotions, you know. But I am grateful that I am able to share this journey with her.
Absolutely. And I just believe that God prepares us for the
He
roles
does.
that He
does.
I usually say He sets us up for.
And He does.
He does prepare us for it.
Yes.
And He's with us every step
Every
of the
step
way.
of the way.
Giving you the strength,
Every
the
step of the way.
endurance, the patience.
Every step of the way.
Every step of the way.
Yes,
To do
yes.
it. Well, Shirley, I am just delighted, first of all, to meet you as several years ago, to get to know you.
It's
and
my
so
pleasure
much that
as
you've
well.
shared with me. And so I'm just thankful
Well, I thank you.
that we have had this opportunity. And again, if you'd like to get any of Shirley's books that she's co-authored and the book that she's about to author,
Thank you, Barbara. Thank you. That was very profound. Thank you.
in my spirit, I just believe it's time that
Yes,
you
it is. It's
release
time for
that
me to
book.
release that.
And because you're such a good writer.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
And I know God will be with you as
Thank
you
you.
release the personal things.
Thank you.
And so, once again, let our audience know how they can get in touch with you if you want to have Shirley for leadership workshops.
Yes, I do workshops, seminars, coaching, and that's www.leadershipinaction.info. My phone number is 888-926-9911. Hope to hear from you.
Okay, thank you, Shirley.
Thank
It's
you,
been
Barbara, for
such
having
a pleasure.
me. Thank you.
And I'm just delighted to know you and share with our audience all that you have to offer.
Thank
and
you.
Please, our audience, please take advantage of the books that Shirley has co-authored. You will be blessed. This is the Barbara Gentry-Pugh Show, and thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time.